It was the most precious day of my life, the day I met Sahar, and the day she became mine forever. People often say that life changes in a single moment. I never believed those words until that unforgettable day. Before Sahar came into my life, I had everything. I thought I had a stable job, a loving family, and dreams that kept me moving forward. Yet every evening when I returned home, there was an emptiness that no success could fill. I spent years believing that love would arrive. When the time was right, I never chased it, I simply waited. One ordinary afternoon, I received an invitation to a family gathering. I wasn't excited about attending. In fact, I almost decided to stay home. But my mother insisted. "You should come," she smiled. "Sometimes the best moments happen when you least expect them." I had no idea how true her words would become. The gathering was filled with laughter, conversations, and children. Running around the garden, I greeted relatives, shook hands with old friends, and tried to enjoy the evening. Then I saw her. She was standing near a row of flowers, smiling as she talked to an elderly woman. The sunset painted the sky behind her, making the moment feel almost unreal. Her name was Sahar. She wasn't trying to attract attention. She wasn't dressed in expensive clothes or surrounded by people, yet somehow she became the only person I could see. For the first time in my life, I understood what people meant when they said, "Someone could change your world with just one smile." A cousin introduced us. "This is Sahar." She smiled politely. "And this is..." Before he could finish, I stretched out my hand. "It's nice to meet you." She shook my hand and replied softly, "It's nice to meet you too." It was only a few seconds, but somehow it felt like time had stopped. During the evening, we spoke several times. We didn't discuss anything extraordinary. We talked about books, family traditions, favorite foods, and childhood memories. Yet every conversation felt effortless. There was no pretending, no trying to impress each other, just honesty. When the gathering ended, I realized I didn't want the night to finish. As I drove home, her smile stayed in my mind. For the first time in years, I couldn't stop smiling. Over the following weeks, our families stayed in touch. Sometimes we met during family dinners. Sometimes we spoke over the phone. Every conversation revealed another beautiful part of her personality. Sahar respected everyone. She listened more than she spoke. She treated children with kindness and elders with deep respect. She laughed from her heart. And most importantly, she always thanked Allah for every blessing in her life. Slowly, admiration became affection. Affection became love. One evening, while walking in a quiet park, I gathered enough courage to tell her the truth. "I don't know what the future holds," I said, "but I know. I want you to be part of every tomorrow I have." She looked down for a moment before smiling. I prayed for someone who would respect me before loving me. Her words filled my heart with peace. Soon, our families met to discuss our marriage. Everything happened naturally. There were no unnecessary complications. Both families respected each other. They believed marriage was built on character, not wealth. Months later, our wedding day finally arrived. I woke up before sunrise. Instead of feeling nervous, I felt grateful. I thanked Allah for bringing Sahar into my life. As relatives prepared the ceremony, my father placed his hand on my shoulder. Today, he said, "You are not just getting married, you are beginning a responsibility." His words stayed with me. Marriage wasn't simply about happiness. It was about trust, sacrifice, patience, and protecting someone else's heart. The wedding hall was beautifully decorated. Friends arrived one after another. Children laughed while taking pictures. The sound of prayers filled the atmosphere. Everything felt peaceful. When Sahar entered the hall, everyone turned to look. She looked graceful, but what touched me most wasn't her appearance. It was the calm confidence on her face. She wasn't smiling because of expensive decorations. She was smiling because two families were becoming one. The nikah ceremony began. As the imam recited verses from the Quran, I felt emotions I had never experienced before. Every word reminded me that marriage is one of Allah's greatest blessings. When I accepted the nikah, my heart became lighter than ever before. At that moment, Sahar was no longer just someone I loved. She became my wife, my partner, my closest friend, my home. People congratulated us. Family members hugged us. Photographs captured smiles that words could never describe. Yet, among all those beautiful moments, one memory remains unforgettable. As we sat together after the ceremony, Sahar quietly whispered, "Thank you for choosing me." I smiled. "I didn't choose you." She looked surprised. "I believe Allah chose us for each other." Her eyes filled with tears. Not tears of sadness, tears of gratitude. That simple conversation became my favorite memory from our wedding day. Marriage changed our lives in beautiful ways. The first morning after our wedding, we prepared breakfast together. Neither of us was an expert cook. We laughed at our mistakes. The tea was too sweet. The bread was slightly burned. Yet it became one of the happiest breakfasts of our lives. We learned that happiness isn't created by perfection. It's created by sharing imperfect moments with the right person. Months passed. Life became busy. There were bills to pay. Responsibilities increased. Sometimes work became stressful. Sometimes misunderstandings happened. But we made one promise. We would never sleep while holding anger in our hearts. No matter how tired we were, we talked. We apologized. We forgave. That promise protected our marriage more than anything else. One winter evening, electricity suddenly went out during heavy rain. Instead of complaining, Sahar lit candles around the living room. We sat together drinking hot tea while listening to the rain. She smiled. Sometimes darkness helps us appreciate light. That sentence stayed with me forever. Years continued to pass. Every anniversary reminded us of the day we first met. Every celebration reminded us how blessed we were. We traveled together, visited our parents often, helped relatives whenever possible. Life wasn't perfect. There were difficult days. There were financial challenges. There were moments of disappointment. But every challenge became easier because we faced it together. One day I asked Sahar, if you could go back and change anything about our story, would you? She thought for a moment. Then she smiled. Not even one page. I laughed. Why? Because every difficulty brought us closer. Her answer made me realize something important. True love isn't measured by the number of happy days. It's measured by how two people stand beside each other during difficult ones. As time passed, our love became calmer. Not weaker, stronger. It no longer needed grand surprises. A simple cup of tea together felt romantic. A quiet walk after dinner felt precious. Holding hands during evening prayers felt more meaningful than expensive gifts. I often watched Sahar while she cared for our home. She never complained about small responsibilities. She always found joy in serving others. Her kindness inspired me to become a better man. She reminded me that love is not something you say every day. It's something you show every day. Years later, when people asked me what the happiest day of my life had been, I never mentioned promotions, achievements, or financial success. My answer was always the same. The day I met Sahar and the day she became my wife forever. Because everything beautiful that happened afterward began with that one unforgettable day. If someone asked me the secret to a happy marriage, I would simply say this: choose respect before romance. Choose patience before pride. Choose forgiveness before anger. Choose gratitude every single day. And never forget that the greatest love stories are not built on perfect moments. They are built on two imperfect people who choose each other again and again. Looking back now, I realize that my life can be divided into two chapters. The days before Sahar and the beautiful life after Sahara. Meeting her was not just another event in my life. It was the beginning of the life I had always prayed for. That day wasn't simply the day I found love. It was the day I found peace, purpose, and a forever home in another person's heart.